I was lying in the ER when Mom texted, "We'll come tomorrow. Your brother's event matters more tonight." Dad added, "Don't guilt us. He actually earned it." I never replied. When I was discharged, I stopped every payment I'd been covering. The mortgage, the car, the insurance. Weeks later, their calls turned desperate, but I gave them the same silence they once gave me. "Don't twist this into your pity act again, James," Dad snapped, voice echoing through the kitchen. The glass in his hand trembled just slightly, but his eyes stayed cold. Mom sat at the table, pretending to scroll through her phone, while Ethan, my younger brother, leaned against the counter, smirking like it was a show. I stood there with my discharge papers still in my hand, the hospital wristband cutting into my skin. "I called from the ER," I said quietly. "You didn't even ask if I was okay." Dad scoffed. "You're always fine. You just want attention." Ethan laughed under his breath. "Maybe if you worked harder instead of whining, they'd care." For a second, I almost replied. Then I saw Mom's face. Not guilt, not worry. Just mild annoyance, like I was ruining their night. The house smelled like wine and expensive food. My stomach turned. That was the same night I realized I wasn't family. I was an obligation they'd grown tired of pretending to love. And right before I walked out, Ethan said, "You wouldn't survive without us." I didn't answer. But that line? It stayed with me. My name's James Halden, 26 years old, quiet kid, the one who paid for everyone else's mistakes. I've been called responsible, mature, selfless, all the pretty words people use when they want something from you. I work in IT, long hours, steady pay. When Mom lost her job, I covered the mortgage. When Dad's truck broke down, I paid the repairs. When Ethan decided to start a business, I co-signed the loan. They always said, "You're the smart one, James. We can count on you." Funny thing, being counted on always feels a lot like being used. That night at the hospital, I realized something I'd buried for years. They never really saw me, just what I could give. And somewhere deep down, I already knew. They were hiding something. Something about the house. Something about the money I thought I was helping them keep. The family portrait. Mom, Linda, 54, all appearances. Her life was a photo wall of perfect family posts, but up close, the smiles never reached her eyes. Dad, Richard, 57, ex-firefighter, retired early after a back injury. He spent his days golfing, drinking, and reminding everyone how much he'd sacrificed. And then there's Ethan, 23, charming disaster, college dropout, self-proclaimed entrepreneur, king of handouts. He was always the baby, the golden one. At family dinners, I was the one doing dishes. Ethan was the one they toasted. I didn't hate him. I hated how they made me invisible beside him. But in that kitchen, something shifted. Mom's eyes flicked to Dad's when I mentioned hospital bills. And for a split second, her face tensed, like I'd stepped too close to a secret. It started with a bank notification, a mortgage payment, already processed, but not from my account this time. Then I noticed the car insurance autopay had changed names, not mine anymore. Ethan Halden. I confronted Dad. "Did you transfer the accounts?" He didn't even look up from the TV. "We just thought Ethan could take some responsibility for once." "But those accounts were mine." Dad smirked. "You're acting like you owned this family." Something inside me cracked. Not anger, just realization. They weren't replacing me. They were erasing me. Later that night, I overheard Mom whispering, "He'll find out soon." And Dad said, "By then, it'll be too late." Too late for what? A week later, I came home to find movers in the driveway, boxes, furniture, labeled Ethan's room, my room. "Dad," I said, frozen. "What's going on?" He didn't even blink. "Ethan's moving in. He needs space for his office. You can sleep in the guest room for now." I laughed. Actually laughed. "The guest room? I pay this mortgage." Mom stepped in, soft voice but sharp tone. "Watch how you speak to your father." That's when Ethan chimed in. "Relax, man. You don't even own this place. The deed's under Dad's name." My chest went cold. Since when? No one answered. Just silence. The kind that tells you every word you ever believed was a lie. I didn't shout. I just said, I see. And in that quiet moment, they all looked nervous, because for the first time, I wasn't begging. I was done. 3 years ago, Dad had gotten a DUI. If I hadn't stepped in, he would have lost everything. Pension, reputation, license. I paid for the lawyer. I sold my car to cover the fines. He never thanked me. Not once. That same year, Mom asked if I could temporarily add her to my bank account to help with bills. I agreed. She drained it within a month. When I asked about it, she cried, told me I made her feel like a criminal. I apologized. To her, that's who I was, the family's emotional punching bag. And Ethan? He knew. He watched it all happen. But he stayed quiet because silence kept his lifestyle alive. That memory still burns because it's the night I realized love in my family only flowed in one direction. It happened by accident. A letter from the county clerk, addressed to me but sent to my parents' house. Inside, documents from a property title change, my signature, forged. The house I'd been paying for legally belonged to Dad and Mom again. And worse? The co-signed loan I took for Ethan's business. He'd defaulted. They'd covered it up by moving funds through my account. Fraud. Betrayal. And the final piece, the insurance policy I'd been paying for? Dad had changed the beneficiary name months ago. From James Halden to Ethan Halden. They didn't just use me. They were preparing to erase me from their story completely. And I realized something. They'd been planning this for months, maybe years. So I stopped planning revenge. I started preparing justice. I called them for dinner. One last family meal. The table was silent, air heavy with false peace. Do you know what I found? I asked calmly, setting the folder on the table. Ethan frowned. What's this? Proof, I said softly. That this family's built on lies. Dad laughed. You're drunk. I slid the papers toward him. Not tonight. The color drained from Mom's face. Ethan tried to grab them. I pulled them back. You forged my name. You used my credit. You changed the deed. You stole from me. Dad stood, chest puffed. We did what we had to do. Family sacrifices for each other. I met his eyes. No. You sacrifice me for each other. Mom whispered, James, please. But I was already standing. I gave you silence for years, I said. Tonight, I give you the truth. And with that, I walked out, left the key on the counter, took my car, my files, my peace, and never looked back. That night, I logged in. Every bill, every auto pay, every linked account, gone, mortgage, insurance, utilities, all canceled. The next morning, their phones blew up my inbox. James, what did you do? Your father's furious. Electricity's out. Are you serious? I never replied. Weeks later, Ethan texted, They're losing the house. You're really going to let this happen? Yes, I was. Because for once, I wasn't the fixer. I wasn't the backup plan. I was free. I moved across town. Quiet neighborhood, small apartment, sunlight through thin curtains. It wasn't much, but it was mine. I'd hear from neighbors sometimes that my parents' house had been foreclosed, that Ethan moved in with friends, that Dad sold his truck. Part of me thought I'd feel guilty, but I didn't. I just felt light. For the first time in years, my silence wasn't fear. It was peace. They gave me absence my whole life. Now I was just giving it back. Sometimes family doesn't break you all at once. Sometimes it does it slowly, until one day you open your eyes and realize you were never part of them at all. I didn't walk away for revenge. I walked away to breathe again. If you were in my place, would you forgive them? Or let silence be your justice? Tell me in the comments. Your voice matters here. And if you've ever been the quiet one, the one who gave everything and got nothing back, this story is for you. Like, subscribe, and keep standing up for yourself. Because sometimes the strongest thing you can say is nothing at all.